We're going to be looking at problem 206, reverse linked list. So as per usual, the 3 steps of solving any problem are 1, understand it, 2, visualize the solution, and 3, implement the solution. Given the head of a singly linked list, reverse the list and return the reversed list. So here an example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then it becomes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pretty clear, 1, 2 becomes 2, 1. Empty array stays an empty, empty linked list is an empty linked list. And constraints is between, so there's like 0 to 5,000 nodes, and each node value is between -5 and 5,000. And here they say a linked list can be reversed either iteratively or recursively. Could you implement both? So we'll do both. We'll start with the iterative one, which I think is a little more straightforward, and then do the recursive one. So what do you need? So if you think about it, what's the first thing you know about the linked list? You know the head value, that's the input. And we know where it points to. We know what its next value is. And so what we need to do is to move that arrow pointing to 2, we need to point it backwards to a null value. Because if you think about it, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, where does the 1 point to? It points to null. So with that in mind, let's call it new head equals null. This is where our 1 is going to point towards. And because we're doing this iteratively, we're set up a while loop. Oh, and we should create an iterator. We'll call this cur, short for current node. So current is the head, and while cur, exists, is not nil, we'll iteratively run, some function. And okay, so 1 is gonna point to null. But what happens once that happens? We lose track of what 2 is because there's no one pointing to 2. So the very first thing you want to do is keep track of that next value. And so let next equals cur.next. And now we are free to point the arrow backwards. Cur.next equals, and remember we have this new head equals null, equals new head. And so once it's pointing at the new head, what is that 2 gonna do? It needs to point to 1, right? So, but remember this new head is equal to null, so we need to update that. So we'll say new head is cur. And now so that's all we need to do. Now we just need to continue on to the next value. And how do we do that? We say cur equals next. And at this point, we can just return new head, and that should be our iterative solution. We'll submit this to double check. Okay, we're good. So that's for the iterative approach. Now let's try out our recursive approach to solving this. Start from scratch. So the same idea, but we need to create some kind of reverse function. And what kind of inputs does it need? It needs a current value. So similar to, in the iterative approach where we have a current value, and then we need the previous value. You can call this whatever you want, but what I'm thinking is cur is 1, and then prev, for previous, will point backwards. And you just without even implementing the reverse part of the equation, we can let's just imagine it was just 1 is the only value. We just need that to point backwards, so we can just say, just pass in the head, and where is it going to point to? It's null. And now okay, so now we have to implement this reverse function. So once again, if we point 1 to null, we're going to lose track of 2. So let's once again take a strong hold of next before doing anything else. Now we're free to move cur.next, and we'll make this prev. And now at this point, all we have to do is run the recursion return reverse, and it's going to be next and current. So next will become current, and then this cur will become the previous value that we're moving to. So you know, like in this first example, cur is 1, and the next one is actually going to be cur is going to be 2, and it's going to be pointing to 1. And so, you know, as with any recursive function, you need a base case, a case where like the steam of the function has run out and it needs to just stop. And that's going to happen when there's no cur. So cur will become null, and we need to return the last known value, which is prev. So let's see if this works. If this runs, and let's see if it submits. Yep, that one works. So there you have it. So there you have an iterative approach and a recursive approach to reversing a linked list. Thank you.